Government ministries are making progress, reports to the president. The trade ministry's goal is export growth despite forecasts of a decline. The Ministry of SMEs and Startups plans to focus on digitalization. Shin Ha-young fills us in.
South Korea's trade and business ministries presented their plans for next year to President Yoon on Tuesday, plans aimed at achieving growth despite economic uncertainties. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy said it aims to achieve growth in exports next year despite the government's outlook of a decline of 4.5%. To meet the goal, the ministry will seek to bolster exports in promising sectors like nuclear power plants and the defense industry. It's also aiming for the country's exports to reach $680 billion. To achieve this, it's going to come up with policies through the exports strategy meeting chaired by President Yoon. With the Ukraine war having exposed vulnerabilities in global supplies of energy, the ministry is also planning to accelerate the revitalization of South Korea's nuclear power ecosystem. The goal is to extend the lives of 7 nuclear plants by next year by providing the industry with support worth 3.5 trillion won, or around $2.7 billion, in the form of equipment and financial aid. To create drivers of future economic growth, it will focus on nurturing the bio-industry and in its role as energy ministry, as well as 5 key industries in the energy sector, including hydrogen and offshore wind. Earlier this morning, President Yoon raised concern about the budget for next year that lawmakers passed last week. He said it lacks measures to support important growth industries like semiconductors. President Yoon also received a briefing on next year's plans from the Ministry of SMEs and Startups, which will be focusing on digitalization. It aims to nurture so-called global unicorn companies, meaning new firms worth more than $1 billion. As part of these efforts, it will select 1,000 digital startups over the next 5 years in the industry of chips, robots, and AI to support those sectors in terms of R&D and help them enter the global market. And with the pandemic having driven more business online, it's also planning to help Korea's traditional markets achieve their own digital transformation. Meanwhile, President Yoon called on the ministries to actively cooperate in 2023.
오늘 우리 산업부와 중기부가 함께 내년도 업무 보고를 하는 이 자리가 기업 간의 상생이 또 부처 간의 이런 유대와 협력, 소통이 바탕이 돼서 이루어질 수밖에 없는 것이기 때문에 산업부와 중기부가 내년에는 더 그 업무 협조를 공고히 하기 당부를 드립니다.
Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.